Since I was a kid, it seemed I collected
Ninja Q.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Ninja Tune podcast. This time I'm joined by Jesse Boykins III, who's going to be having a chat with me about his new record, Zulu Guru, which was made alongside MeLo-X. And then, as usual, we've picked out a few of our favourite things coming out on the Ninja Tune stable of labels.
She's in search of her ways, gotta find a way to get away. She's in search of her ways, gotta find a way to get away. Don't stay. She gotta find a way away. I'm not afraid to tell you, I'm too brave to lie. Baby, you're your answer, don't need to ask why. Cultured by design, intuition is your stage. There's so much to learn from you, I feel it every day. On your way to find your way, she's in search of her ways, gotta find a way to get away. She's in search of her ways, gotta find a way to get away. Don't stay, no. Gotta find a way, yeah.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Ninja Tune podcast. I'm delighted to have sat opposite me Jesse Boykins III, who's here to talk about his new record in collaboration with MeLo-X, which is called Zulu Guru. First of all, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit. Who is Jesse?
I'm 27 years old, and this is actually my third release. I had 2 releases in 2008, both self-produced by myself. First one was called Dopamine, and the second one was called The Beauty Created. Before that, I was actually attending New School University for Jazz, where I studied under Bilal, who also went to New School, but he's known for putting out a couple records himself, signed to Interscope, and working with Robert Glasper. So yeah, I went to school with Robert Glasper and Casey Benjamin, and I was surrounded by all these great musicians coming up in New York, and that's pretty much what I initially wanted to do. Moving to New York is experience that. I didn't really care too much about the school aspect of it. I just wanted to be in a creative space with creative people, who talked about life in different ways than I heard from living in Miami, which is a little different from New York City.
Like at that age when you got yourself in there, were you already sure that music was what you were going to do, or was it maybe another art form you were going to go into at that point?
When I was auditioning for it, I didn't think that I was going to make it, but I always wanted to be in music. I always envisioned myself being a performer. I would sit down and I would imagine myself in a music video, to a song that I wrote. And I wasn't even writing songs yet, you know what I mean? So I always put myself in that mind frame where it was that was it. It wasn't really anything else to think about. I played sports as well. I ran track and I played football, but that was more so the discipline obedience thing, and being able to cooperate and work with people in a lot of different settings. Basically, sports there's a lot of emotions going on, and a lot of ego, and a lot of things that you learn to deal with in life as well. So I really appreciated that aspect of being athletic and playing sports, but for the most part, I knew I was going to do music. I didn't think about anything else really, so I just didn't know how I was going to get there. In my mind, I was like, I'm just going to get a record deal. But then, speaking with my mentor at the time, Miss Shanita Hunt, she kept telling me to go to college. She's like, you gotta go to college. Like, you're not a real musician if you don't graduate with a degree. And I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to make her proud and make my mom proud. So I was like, all right, I'll go to school first. No, you don't really have to go to school for music, but I'm glad I went because I learned about a lot of other things I wouldn't have learned about if I didn't go to school, you know, like Buddhism and Zen and all these things that I was reading and these classes I was taking, you know, poetry and being exposed to all these authors and poets and artists I would have never probably known about if I just went and got a deal. And, you know, my arts development would have been very different.
No, your man don't be treating you right. You wanna be with me every night. Yeah, we connect, so why we fighting? These broken wings can't mend and take flight. If it's not with you, got to be with you. With you, please tell me how is it better for you, better for you than me. Please tell me how is it better for you than me. Better.
So, by the sound of things, you know, learning about Buddhism, studying music at college, so you've kind of got a wider experience of how you make it, plus playing football, it seems like you're pretty well set up to end up making a collaborative record. So I guess it came quite naturally for you.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, I've always tried to be a team player. I always wanted to be in a boy band when I was young. And, you know, if I had a solo, I'd be like, yo, you can get the second half of the solo so we can shine together. Like, that's always been like the way I move. I don't know why. You know, I really appreciate it though, because I've built like a lot of cool bonds and cool friendships through being like that, and you know, lifelong friendships too, which is great. And so yeah, it's definitely not hard to collaborate for me. Like, I don't have a big ego, you know. I'm passionate and I want to be respected for what I do and acknowledged for, you know, the way that I work on my craft and try to better myself. But I'm not running around here saying I'm the best, because I'm not the best of myself, because I always want to be better. I don't really have a big ego, so I always want to collaborate because I learn so much, you know, from working with somebody else who does something they love, period. So not just in music, in art, in anything, like photography, I don't care what it is. Like, I always want to be with somebody who's creative and see how they look at the world. So it's always cool to collaborate with somebody in music. And me and Melo, like, we both Jamaican, you know, we're both, like, we pretty had similar upbringings, you know what I mean? Like, single mom home, the oldest, taking care of the younger brothers and sisters, so it's cool.
Never thought I'd be this way, holding on to yesterday. How far we've gone, missing steps your lips would say. The pressure's standing to decay. I need your warmth, moments blend like seasons do. I need the times when I'm with you, the days are lost. Breathing starts to slow me down. So every presence levitates when you're around. Suddenly sitting, we're here to win, we're here to win. I won't say no, I won't say no. My how we blend, my how we blend. Suddenly sitting, we're here to win, we're here to win. I won't say no, I won't say no. My how we blend to make the perfect shade of blue.
How did the collaborative album come about? Did you plan to make a whole record? Did you just get in the studio to work on a song and the rest flowed? And also, like, did you have an idea of how a full album would sound together? Because there's a lot of different sounds in there, but it works together as an album. So yeah, did you set out to do that? Did you work on a track and it sort of unraveled? What happened there?
When I was like 22, I was recording actually one of the songs that's on the album, Strange Recreation, which is a little different from a lot of songs on the record. Because I had like this phase where I was doing like 16-bit records with this band called Big Mono, and we would get high and we would write these crazy songs together. And one of the songs was Strangely Creations. At the intro, my first take, I said something in Patois. I was like, "Man, original Zulu Guru from Jamaica, you know." And that's the first line that I said. And then they looked at me after I said it. They were like, "What's a Zulu Guru?" And I was like, "I have no idea, but it sounded cool." And that was like when I was 22. I'm 27 now, so I had no idea what it was, and you know, it never came up again until like recently. I started doing a lot of research on, you know, African culture and Asian culture, and it just came back up again, like reading about the Zulu Nation and South Africa, and you know, the things they had to go through and how prideful of the people they are. And I'm like, I'm prideful, you know what I mean? Like, I care about tradition. Like, I want people to know who I am and know what I represent. So that's that's like me thinking, like, in a sense where I am that, you know. And then the guru thing is like Hinduism and being conscious and aware and being a teacher, a spiritual teacher. And I'm like, I'm spiritual. I think my music's pretty spiritual. You know, I think it's, you know, I think that I teach through my music, and I try to do that in my writing. So I was like, that's me. I'm a Zulu Guru, or I'm aspiring to be one. And then, you know, Melo is exactly the same. You know, he's made so much music before this, you know, and he's always tried to be educational in his life lesson teachings. You know, like, if he acknowledges his mistakes in his music, and I do the same in mine, and we check our egos in our music, and we have big egos in our music. So it's like the natural balance, you know, between me and him being an MC and growing up in Brooklyn and being Jamaican, and me being a singer and growing up in Miami and being Jamaican. It's like two cakes that are the same with different icing. You know what I mean?
It's the Gaga, I'm new here. Dude with a smooth beard and cool hair came to say that you should lose fair. A BK boy on a mission to get you, so them other dudes that left you were just decoys. Thought I was the same when you saw me coming. A dog, a lame, I'm so far from it. This goes out to the UK, bruv. Gotta get more of that UK love.
New here, haven't seen this place before. I'd hold on to what you say, cause I've been lost before. It's hard for me to find my way. The darkness blind and frighten me. Your hands steady are guiding me. We'll find the bright in me. I'm not like the last, so far from the past, ahead of it all. I'm new here. I'm new here. I'm new here. I'm new here.
So you were just talking a little bit about the title of Zulu Guru, and also sort of talking about how there are concepts behind your music. Zulu Guru to me is quite a succinct expression of what world soul is, as I've seen you describe it. Would you agree with that? And can you sort of explain what the concept of world soul is?
Yeah, Zulu Guru is a world soul album. I like to think of my music as world soul because a lot of times I get put in the neo soul bracket, or, you know, because I'm black, I make black music, and I make human music for the world. I'm not like that in life, and I'm not like that in my music. So I always say that I make soul music because it's from my heart, and it's passion, and it's real, you know, and it feels good. But I make world soul music, meaning like what I take in is the world. Me as a human being, I live life day to day, and I'm exposed to my world. I'm exposed to a lot of different worlds, you know, and that music all influences me, and that's what I find world soul is. It's like when you listen to something and it's like, I don't even care what it is. It feels great. Who cares? You know what I mean? And that's the kind of music I want to make. And I don't even care what it is. I just learned something. Or this reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I like, that's what world soul to me is. It's more so like the ultimate feeling. Like, it don't matter what genre. It doesn't matter what race the artist is. I emphasize on that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just good music. Who cares? Like, if it make you feel good and it helps you live better, then that's world soul.
Who you know do it like I do? Spit it how you live it, this is really survival. At 10 years old, you were gripping the Bible. At 10 years old, I was gripping the mic, dude. This is my religion, so you niggas is liable to catch the Holy Spirit when I'm spitting revivals. I'm a lover, not a street fighter like Ryu. Put voodoo on a track like East Bayou, then sneak by you. Fuck a metaphor, I will kill you with haikus. When the game I hide and go see where my eyes glue. Third eye open, I will find you, then deep fry you. French fry, nigga, you should be embarrassed. Ladies always tell me that I should be in Paris. Go to the club in a horse and a carriage. Leave out that bitch with a stack of the cabbage. Wanted a moolah, cheddar the pesos. I need agua, lyrics of fuego. Your lyrics are bagel with no whipped cream. Cash rules everything, or so it seems. Flow so tight, I can sew up seams. Spit all night, even flow in dreams. Run a train on a track and I won't lose steam. Keep your brain on the stacks and you won't lose cream. Said that twice, I'm that nice. It's a gamble with your life like a roll of dice. Because the preciseness when I write this leaves you indecisive on who's the nicest. It's the God. Tribe of Staffer. Ain't none hotter. Holla black.
Also, you mentioned a bit about how the difference between sort of Miami and then making records in Brooklyn. Does geography play a role in the music that you make? By the sound of things, it does.
Yeah. That's interesting you brought that up, because when I was in the Red Bull Music Academy last year in Madrid, RZA spoke, and he was talking about traveling, and that's one of my things. It's like I like to travel. I like to be out of my element a lot. I like to be in different places and, you know, explore and all this, right? Whatever. So RZA was speaking on traveling, and he was saying how, you know, it's dope to make music in different places. And I raised my hand and I asked him, I was like, told him, why do you feel that that's important as an artist to be able to create in a different environment, you know? Because I thought that and I feel that way. And he was like, because in different environments, you're in a different frequency, like you're in a different place. So like mentally, you know, you're different naturally, you know? And he was expressing it on a spiritual level, you know what I mean? And I was like, I feel that, bro. Yeah, RZA, you that dude, like, because that's exactly how I feel, you know? And when I record in a different place, I always say that, yo, I recorded this song here. It doesn't matter if you like the song or not. That's the first thing I'm telling you. I did this song in such and such, you know, because I'm like, it's different from how I would write, you know? Like, I did some songs in Amsterdam and they sound completely different from a song that I did in Madrid. And that song sounds completely different from the song that I did in Berlin, you know? And it's cool to be able to say that, you know? In my next whole record, most of the writing and the recording I did in an attic in the Bay, you know what I mean? So like, it's cool to be able to have that added to the story, you know, of the song. And it makes the song mean a lot more. Like if I wake up every day and do a song in my room every day, it's gonna feel like my room. So I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm just doing another song, cool. But if I'm like, damn, I'm in Madrid right now, I gotta make sure this song is hot. You know what I mean? Like this is it. I fly out in 2 days. Like you got 22 hours. What's up? You know, like that's a different feeling. That's the one feeling that's not really that. It's not common, you know. And those new feelings make you apply yourself a lot more. You know.
Stop fighting for you. I can't call this loving. I can't stop breathing for you. Come close, help me defend. The sky, oh how it dims slow. The air I cannot speak for. The nervousness of nerves, yeah. How dare my conscience choke it. How primal is desire. Such bonds could bring us further, higher. Primal is this fire. Such bonds could bring us further, higher.
Take your time. Know that you are here. Please don't share your fears. Soon I'll be gone. So let's take this time to paint our design.
With this record finished, you know, do you let this one live for a while, go through the process of getting it out there and sort of letting it happen, or is it right, boom, next thing?
I haven't released a record or an album since 2008. It's 2012. And I released an EP that I just sampled some Gold Panda tracks and chopped them up and slowed them down and recorded vocals over them and some songs called Wave of Wayfarer in summer 2011. And that was like my little, hey, I'm about to come back now. I'm a firm believer of letting an album live, you know, and I'm definitely a firm believer of putting out music as well, though. And I find that since this is more so a collective thing, it's not really my solo project, so I don't really feel any pressure about letting it live. I feel like it's gonna do that on its own because so many people are involved with it. And I'm not worried about that aspect of it. Like, I'm gonna continue to promote music that I make regardless. I don't care what year it comes out. I don't necessarily care unless I'm getting this album put out in stores around the world like I am, which makes it super important. So I'm gonna push it, but I definitely already have music done and ready to be put out. Just all about timing. So I'm just gonna be so ever elusive on that question and say I have music prepared if it needs be, but I will push Zulu Guru because it's a project that I put out that's pretty cool.
So, as we always do with each of our guests, we've asked you to come up with 5 tracks that have influenced you or, I guess, informed the artist that you are today. The first song that you've selected is 3 Little Birds by Bob Marley. Can you explain a little bit about why you've picked that?
Like, that song is so universal, and that song is so powerful, and it's the simplest song ever, but it holds so much, and it brings so much smile to the world, and it has, and it's going to continue to, you know what I mean? It's just one of those songs, you just have a song that you can play anywhere. It doesn't matter who or what country you in, or doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters, You play that song and everybody's like, oh, man, yeah, see, like, you know what I mean? Everybody's dancing and stuff, or feeling the vibe, which is powerful. And I always try to make powerful music like that. I always look to those guys, or a guy like Bob Marley, as like one of those men who stood for so much in culture, and actually acknowledge that power through his music, and that's one of those songs.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you.
And that was 3 Little Birds by Bob Marley. So the second selection that you've made is Visions by Stevie Wonder. Do you want to explain why that one couldn't be left out for you?
Stevie Wonder is another great songwriter that has influenced me so much, and taught me so much. Visions, my best friend, Jared Wu, who designs all my stuff, he's a really, really big fan of music, and he actually exposed me to a lot of different kind of music. His dad was Philip Wu, who used to be in the band Frank Beverly and the Maze, and so he used to go and tour with them, and he actually met a lot of these musicians coming up in the 70s and the 80s, or in the 80s when he was born. He was like a tour boy, so he's exposed to all this music, and he would put me on. And our freshman year, we went to New School. We would work in this lounge in the lobby of our dorm room that we lived in, and he would have Visions on repeat, and he would work. He would paint or whatever he was doing in the moment, and I would be in there writing out lead sheets and memorizing words to jazz songs and stuff. But we would have Visions going in the background, you know what I mean? And every time I listened to Visions, I was like, yo, I gotta do this. It was one of those songs where it was like, that's it, Jesse. It's just music and nothing else.
Yeah, you couldn't fail to pick that one, really. So yeah, let's hear a bit of it now. This is Visions by Stevie Wonder.
People hand in hand, have I lived to see the milk and honey land, where hate's a dream and love forever stands? Or is this a vision in my mind? The law was never passed, but somehow all men feel at last. Have we really gone this far through space and time? Or is this a vision in my mind?
That was Visions by Stevie Wonder. Your third choice is one that I didn't actually know before. This is Eric Roberson with Deaf Ears. Do you want to tell us a bit about this?
Eric Roberson is one of my favorite songwriters. He had a lot to do with the neo-soul scene coming up in the years. He's written for artists like Jill Scott and Dwelle and all the songs that everybody loves. Music Soul Child, he's written them, and his music's just as good, if not better, than the music he's written for other artists. And he's like one of my mentors. You know, I look up to him because he's done a lot for independent music, and he's like one of the first artists who was independent. You know, coming up in the '90s and all the way through the 2000s, and continue to be successful in his music and release music under his own label and all these things I want to do and stuff. So, and listening to Deaf Ears, it's like one of the most powerful songs. You know, it's so many levels of emotions that a lot of men can't express, much less through song, and much less where the man and the woman can understand it. You know, the masculine and the feminine. And I try to write like that in my music. I try to make it so men and women like the music. You know what I mean? Not just women and their boyfriends like, oh, I gotta turn it off. You know, and not just men who go, yeah, this is hot, and the girlfriend's like, yo, can we listen to something a little softer? Like, I try to make it both. You know, and he's really good at that. And Deaf Ears is a perfect example of that.
So yeah, it's about time we heard some, I think. This is Deaf Ears by Eric Roberson.
God, I don't know where to begin. I'm so lost, I can't even pretend. Like the girl that I see right in front of me, don't have control. She's like a friend to my heart, key to my future, lover of soul. Crazy thing, I didn't even know her name. Who she was and where she came from. But she passed me this passion, pushed back my action like we couldn't deal. Said something about timing, past not aligning, but I need her still. Left my heart with lovely stranger. One-way street headed for danger. Close my eyes but still can't fade her. She's been there for years. I've been hurt messing with lesser. Even though I do know better. I spend my nights writing love letters, landing on their fears. So I ask, can she be? Made for me. Is it a phase? Just a phase. Just passing by. Or could she be? Missing pieces in my life.
That was Eric Roberson with Deaf Ears. Your fourth choice. I guess everyone has a favourite song by Michael Jackson. Yours is definitely the right one in my opinion. This is my favourite MJ song as well. Can you explain why you had to put Don't Stop Till You Get Enough in there?
That was the first Michael Jackson song I ever heard. And I had it on a tape, and I had a karaoke machine, and all I would listen to was the song. And I would dub myself singing it with Michael, stop his and play mine and see if it was good enough to, if I could play it for Mike, what he would think about it. And that's what I would do. I would play it and sing it with him, and then I would stop it and like listen back to it like, Mike like this, if I played it for him right now, nah, do it again. And I would do it again, and my mom would be like, what are you doing in there? Like, you've been playing that same song for like 3 days. I'm like, I'm trying to lay down this good R&B track, leave me alone. Like, I was so serious in my room with my karaoke machine, and that song, that song helped me get there, I love that song.
Just rising up.
was Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson. And your final choice, arguably slightly more controversial than those that have gone before, this is by Phil Collins. Can you try and give us a sense why you pick a Phil Collins song?
Oh man, I love that song, yo. Man, I love Phil Collins, man. Phil Collins, if you listen, dog, I really appreciate your approach. That's what I appreciate. I appreciate your songwriting, and I appreciate your rhythmical flavor, brother. I'm with it, man. He made songs that are really, really deep and like emotional, catchy. It's really hard. It's really hard to do. There's not a lot of artists that can do it. Phil Collins is one of those dudes, man. So many messages in the song, and you're like, oh, it's just catchy. Phil Collins had that, man. And he had that 80s sound, man. I had that sound I like, you know. It was cool, man. It's like music from the 80s is my favorite. He did a lot for music in the 80s, you know. A lot of artists like him, I listen to a lot, like Hall & Oates, and you know, these cats were great songwriters and told stories and made it catchy at the same time.
Okay, it's about time we heard some. This is You Will Be In My Heart by Phil Collins.
Come stop your crying, it will be alright. Just take my hand, hold it tight. I will protect you from all around you. I will be here, don't you cry. For one so small, you seem so strong. My arms will hold you, keep you safe and warm. This bond between us can't be broken. I will be here, don't you cry. 'Cause you will be in my heart. Yes, you will be in my heart. From this day on, now and forevermore. You'll be in my heart. No matter what they say. You'll be here in my heart always.
Okay, that was Phil Collins with You'll Be In My Heart. Before you go, there's another thing that I'd like to ask you about. The album, you talk a lot about Schwaza. It sort of comes up in several points. There's a song called it. What is Schwaza?
I'll tell you the origin of Schwaza. It's not even as, it takes away from the word so much when I tell this story, but I mean, it's come a long way. The word itself. The first time we said it, Wu made it up, and we were in Berlin, like recent 2011 January, and I was playing at Bread and Butter Berlin, and it our first time in Berlin, and we were like, we in Berlin, like, yeah, this is, you know what I mean, we important, you know what I mean, and he went and got, like, it was a trade show, so he went and got all these free clothes and shoes, and I was asleep, and it was early in the morning, and I had too many interviews to do it later on, and he came back with all these bags, and he was like, Schwaza, look at my shoes, Schwaza, look at this coat I just got, Schwaza. And I was like, what does Schwaza mean? And he was like, that's swag in German. And so me and Josh from Street Etiquette, my bro, we walking around the trade show saying, man, your shoes are Schwaza. I'm like, man, that book bag is Schwaza. And they're like, what is that? What? And we like, that's swag in German. Like, and they're like, no, it's not. That word doesn't exist in German, actually. And I was like, all right, cool. But we kept saying Schwaza. We went back to New York, Schwaza. And then one day I was like, man, we gotta figure out what it means. Like, we gotta come up with a definition, like, you know, for real. Like, let's talk. And we had to talk about it, you know. And then one of my boys, Kenji, he actually went on Urban Dictionary and he put the definition up. And he was like, anything that acknowledges an amazing moment in time, you know. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's not just about material things. It's about acknowledging being present. You know what I mean? And just appreciating life. And I was like, yeah, that's what it's about. So when we said Schwaza, we started saying it different. We used to be like Schwaza. Now we're like, oh, that's Schwaza. And a lot of people don't know how to appreciate a lot of things and acknowledge it. You know, like in Rasta, he was like, Irie. You know what I mean? Same way, like, just appreciating and acknowledging a moment. So that's how we came up with Schwaza. And my whole crew, Romantic Movement, that's all we say. Everything's Schwaza. And we try to live a Schwaza life.
So yeah, I think we're going to have to end there. Thanks so much for coming and joining us. It's been really, really good fun to meet you and to hear about the making of your new record, Zulu Guru. Yeah, it's been really fun meeting you. Thanks a lot.
As a child, I experienced pain. Watched my mother grind through the drains. Found counsel in my counterparts. Felt the fury beating in my heart. But it was written in these stars for me to spread romance with this art. Learn to channel this energy to be more profound within me. Now I live these legendary dreams. Meet my goals, levitate with my team. Our subconscious fuels us to grow. No longer do I wanna be just a man. Call me a Zulu Guru. With passion, be sure to find the God in you too. That's the Schwarzer truth. Yeah. Find the God in you too. Yeah.
The interview's over, unfortunately, but the episode isn't. We've still got 5 tracks to play you from the Ninja Tune stable. The first of which this time is Full TDL with Straight and Arrow, which is on Ninja Tune itself. That was Straight and Arrow by Full TDL. The second track is by Leatherette and it's called Featurette. That was Ninja Tune release Featurette by Leatherette. Our third track this time is from Offshore with Slip. That was Big Dada artist Offshore with Slip. Up next is from Brainfeeder, and this is Lapalux with Quartz.
Top of your head, through your face, your neck, your torso, your legs, and your feet. Imagine that you have a little person inside your head.
That was Lapalux with Quartz. Up next is Dells with You Live in My Head.
As the moon burns slow and the dust still settles, but words from the air and I'm filling with metal sea. You said if you're thirsty, let the tears off my cheeks before they dry out. That's what you whispered to me, breathe. Puff, puff, past blow clouds in the sky, skeleton bones and flames in your eyes, see. Blah, 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 will I see you again? I had the right laugh, there's no need to pretend that you live in my head.
That was Big Dada artist Dells, a previous podcast guest. If you like the sound of that, do check out that episode. It was a really good chat with him. And the track was called You Live in My Head. And yeah, I'm afraid we're going to leave you there. I want to thank DK for his work producing. I also want to thank Jesse for coming in and having a chat, and also to you for listening. So yeah, thanks and bye.